All right, man, what's going on? I got my little setup here, so I'll just peek through here what some of the plays that I looked at, and let me get your thing open here, and we'll go through some of the plays and talk a little bit about what I saw and whatnot. So, anyways, we're in the Tampa Bay game, and the first thing I noticed is let's look at the first play, right? Let's just go straight to the first play where you have it's a go route. This is a route to Adam Thielen. You have complete yes, pressure no, big gain, and then you have a rating of a 10. Your notes kind of say about perfect, sets feet, good protection, steps in to throw, and he hits Thielen in stride. So you're not wrong. None of this is wrong per se. This is the play here. But what I want to do is kind of talk a little bit about, let's talk a little bit about what they're doing, what Keenum sees post-snap, pre-snap, and then let's talk about why he threw this go. So first and foremost, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to motion, I want to say Kyle Rudolph from left to right. And this kind of looks to set up a run here. You have the lead block here. We see the shift down. We kind of know that it's zone. We know that it's zone because nobody followed Kyle Rudolph across the field. Now, that could still be hidden as man, especially if you have two good coverage outside linebackers. But it's obviously a run defense set. So this is something the Chiefs like to do as well. And it's to get Marcus Peters out of certain plays. So what we see at the top of the screen, and you can't see my cursor, so that's kind of unfortunate here. But at the top of the screen, look at both corners on each side. And notice how off they are. And then the safeties are almost up. And you see them kind of both leaning forward. This is a very quarters look here. And what it does is it gets your corners out of the run game, which especially if you have a poor tackling cornerback like Marcus Peters or something like that, you have your edges being played by your linebackers, and then your safeties are going to be responsible with plugging some gaps and coming up and playing. And when you see this motion by Rudolph from left to right, that's where you're going to show that, look, this heavy run set to the right looks pretty much like a run play, but that's not the case here. What we have for the Vikings ends up being a pass play. So why did this work? Why is it here in quarters where here at the bottom where Thielen is, we have a cornerback who's almost 10 yards off the ball and then or off of his man, and then another safety in the middle of the field. With this too high look here, both of these safeties are going to be responsible for deep halves. So why based off of this pre-snap look, would we even think about going at a deep ball with a corner playing the deep ball and a safety playing over the top, because you have two safeties that help over the top? Like, it just doesn't make sense that the go route would be the go-to here. But what we end up seeing is a cover 3 roll. So look at when the ball is snapped. And this is what the responsibility of a quarterback is watching the safeties, right? And watch the safeties here after the ball gets snapped. So the ball gets snapped, 37 is going to dip to the top, and that far side safety, I want to say Chris Conte, I don't even know who plays safety for Tampa Bay anymore, is going to slide up in the box. And you notice this is an instant cover 3 look now. Instant cover 3. It could be man. We see folks. Really, it looks like zone. Yeah, it's zone. I'm not even gonna. It really doesn't matter at this point. The whole point is that safety slid high, and he's moving left. So now we have cover 3. So now at this point in the snap, Case sees this, and he knows that he has a one-on-one on the left sideline. And at this point, it's just trusting your man. Understanding that it's going to be and delivering a good football. Now, looking away from Thielen, because if you don't trust that, or if it's a good corner matchup or whatever, look here to the right side at the top of the screen to Diggs. He hits this corner, which would be wide open. And this wheel route here by Dalvin Cook absolutely shreds. And even though you have a big play, pretty much there isn't a receiver outside of Rudolph that's not open right now. Outside of Thielen. Thielen's literally the only covered guy. So, but maybe the read here is built in is we trust our guys one-on-one, and if we see one high, we're going to attack Thielen here. Maybe that's the read. That's something that we can't look at from a coaching perspective, but seeing this roll from here, this is not the look that we want to throw the deep ball to. But when they shift, I now know that I have a one-on-one, and I'm going to trust my guy, and he does a good job at getting the football where it needs to be. It's a great throw. I mean, this is an absolute dot. I mean, Jesus. I mean, he releases this, on almost the 25, the 27-yard line, and this goes all the way down to the 22. I mean, do some math there. Just 50-yard drop right there. Great anticipation on this throw with where it needs to be, knowing where Thielen needs to be. So this is a great throw. Definitely a 10 out of 10 throw. Is the read the best? Depends what you think by read. Okay, if the read is we're going to trust one-on-ones with Adam Thielen, whenever we see one high, then that's the right read. But also, he did have many other options, the wheels that you talked about with these running backs. I mean, that's wide open. And I think with Diggs cover, I don't think a cornerback tackles Diggs. This is going to be 6 easy. I mean, maybe the safety makes a play on it because he doesn't, the far side safety doesn't commit until after the throw. But a lot of open routes. But the whole point is look at what the defense is doing, and that's why. Throwing a goal wall here is stupid. But when we see the rotation to the top, and now it's cover 3 with one high look, now Case knows. So that's a good read there. Okay, I'm done talking about this play. Let's go a little bit down to this one here. Bad snap, recovers nicely, throws to Thielen. So this is the corner route to Thielen for 19 yards later in the game. So give me a second here while we find it. And once again, you pointed it out. A bad snap can kill timing. I mean, it can really kill timing. Let's see, further down. Here it is. Okay. So we come here. First thing you need to notice from a defense perspective, look at where we're back. I mean, this is, let's see, what down are we on right now? Let me check here. This is important. Okay, we are on, shit, this is not where I need to be. I mean, I can see where I'm at. 1 second. All right, so it is 3rd and 7 in the second quarter. So we're back into this quarter coverage look. We see hips on the corner, or hips inside. One of the things that kind of, I don't need to explain hard counts to you, right? It's just the quarterback's way of getting the flip, because you don't want to have to, it's like looking at it. I guess the best analogy I've always had was, those things where you have the picture and then on the next page is another picture and you have to spot the differences. It's like doing that, but you have 3 seconds to do it. And to go from here and then go hike and then look at this one without even, you have to remember and you have to be able to spot the differences. And that's why these guys make so much money, is because to go from said hike and then getting the new picture and having to spot the differences and then make a decision based off of that is very difficult. So our hard counts are a way to get information. So one of the things to notice is look at the top of the screen with this zones, or with this look from the defense. This corner, or the corner at the very top, is very far off of his man. I want to say that's Diggs. If not, it's somebody else. Diggs might be at the bottom. Who knows? Anyways, the safety is aligned very much over top of of Thielen. And we see the corner on Thielen in the slot kind of sliding in. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a hard count, right? Where is it at? So watch Case. He gets set, checks, and then he's going to come down. So, this is selling it. This is like, all right, here's my read. Okay, let's get ready. And he's going to come and he's going to hard count. And you see the movement. Look at the corner is going to slide, and that safety is going to move up. I mean, both of them give away. And then they have to try, and you see instantly, Thielen points it out. He says, hey, he's coming. So we now know this safety sliding up like he did on this hard count, giving away. I mean, what a poker face, right? Just completely giving away what he's doing. Now know we have man coverage. I have Adam Thielen, one of my best route runners, one of the league's better route runners, in man coverage on a guy who's a safety, not a cornerback. So now we know with the post at the top of the screen in the corner by Thielen, we know that's the read. And now that we see it, Case is going to come up and he's going to check his coverage or his protection scheme to account for this nickel blitz, because we now know based off of that, nickel blitz is coming and that safety's going to step up and play man on Thielen. And it's just too late to change the play for them at this point. So now the ball gets snapped and we know how it goes. Bad snap is going to kind of mess up, but really it doesn't stop him from being on time. So I don't think the bad snap costs too much because the read's already been made. You know, I don't need him to make a bunch of reads here because we already know what's happening. Ball gets snapped, and as we've notated multiple times, he's having a hard time throwing from this right hash to the left side of the field, and he really doesn't place the ball in a spot. I mean, I need this one on a rope. Nobody's going to pick it off. Just rope it. And I need a little bit more because he kind of leads it, and it's almost incomplete. And I need yak out of this because this is a touchdown. Chris Conti on Adam Thielen in man coverage. I mean, look, he gets turned around right on the cut. He has no idea how to play a corner route. It should be illegal to run corner routes in the NFL. Boom, hits him with the inside step, and boom, just separation. That ball needs to be on a rope to Thielen because he's going to break this tackle. I mean, if Conti even recovers to make the tackle. So what does that mean for Case Keenum? I mean, the hard counts are hard counts, right? He does a good job at picking up the blitz. I just need the throw to be there because that's the touchdown play, and we're only going to get a handful of those throughout the game, especially against better teams. When you finally figure out who the pressure is and where it's coming from, I need you to execute just a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. But that's another thing to remember when we're talking about your analysis was bad snap, recovers nicely, throws to Thielen. I want to see Reed's defense, hard count, read the defense. And the bad snap doesn't, I mean, does he really recover nicely? I mean, he knows where he's going. The throw is, I mean, it doesn't affect his timing at all. He just doesn't throw a good football, really. And I need a little bit more yak ability because there's a lot of times, there's later in this game where you see they run two digs or two deep curls and they're both wide open and all he needs to do is hit Thielen and then Thielen can get more yardage, but he ends up throwing the ball a little outside and Thielen has to make like a diving grab for it. Like not being able to put my receivers in a position to keep going up the field is a real deal breaker, especially when you have guys like Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, which are just absolute animals after the catch. I mean, Thomas is a tank. Sanders is just so smooth. I mean, they can make contested catches, but to really unlock those guys' abilities, you really have to lead the ball, lead them to make plays after the catch. All right, let's talk about these two plays. So you talk about this one being to McKinnon. It actually ends up being Diggs, not McKinnon. But let's talk about these two plays I have highlighted in orange and why your analysis here of awful play, Cook has a good lane and his first read is bad. Now, all right, let me not say it's bad. It's just going to take time when you're watching film. So this is... let's go down here to, it's farther in the drive, farther in the game. We have an incomplete pass. All right. So there's the McKinnon play on 2nd and 17. All right. Bam. Here we go. Sorry. I'm rambling. So we're at 1st and 10. 1st and 10. And lo and behold, we're showing quarters again by the defense. Look. Safeties are up in the box, getting ready to play the run. We got our DBs back. Cool. I actually see another hard count here. Scanning to see where we're at. So this is the play here. And this is the read. So what you have is you have a built-in, I don't know, I'm not too familiar with running concepts too much, but we have a pulling guard and a pulling center. Pulling guard and a pulling center on this power run here to the outside. And that's one of the design parts. So this is that RPO concept. And what you have is a run to the right with a pulling guard and pulling center and a swing screen to Diggs at the top. So what is my quarterback's job here? Okay. So first off, this decision is a numbers game and is pretty much made entirely based on what the person guarding Diggs is doing. So as we see, the corner that's out there guarding Diggs, he just slides up into the box to play down on the run protection. He's not following in man. So what I want you to notice is when we get here, because nobody followed Diggs, look at the top of the screen. You have a corner and a corner on your two wide receivers at the top of the screen. Once again, you can't see my cursor, so I can't circle it. But at the top of the screen there, with whether it be Treadwell, Jarius Wright, or Thielen, that's a 2-on-2. That's a numbers advantage. When you have 2-on-2 and then you have a ball carrier, Diggs here, so it's a 3-on-2 situation. The only person that can really make a play if both of these guys block well is going to be TJ Ward, who is, almost 15 yards deep from the snap at this point at safety on the other side, on the top side of the screen there. So that's the numbers game. That's all he needs to watch, because since nobody followed, we have a man advantage, and we're just going to throw this screen. I mean, if both of these guys block, which they don't, you could just seal the edge there. All he has to, why this receiver literally chops his feet at the top of the screen and then falls. I don't really, now the ball could be placed a little better, but think about if there's a block there. If this guy doesn't get beat inside and he just stays in front of his man, there's a whole seal. Thielen does a good job at sealing his guy. You see him working outside and then getting his hips sealed on his man. What he needs to do is, the other guy needs to do the same thing, and then we create an alley for Diggs to run in. But the whole point is we have a 3-on-3 there, and our third being a ball carrier, their third being a safety who's 15 yards deep. I trust Diggs against Ward in the open field. That's just what it comes to from play design. Now, imagine if that corner does follow. So we imagine the corner's running across the field now. Now, look, we have 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and a safety. Imagine that corner's not there, and these 2 linemen pull right on these 2 linebackers. You see the center that pulls, and he's going to get on, I want to say Levante David there, and chop blocks him, see him falling there right on the 40. And then you could see the other guy that's the lead blocker, who ends up being the right tackle. He doesn't have to worry about the corner there. He can just seal his hips and take that second linebacker. So Levante's down on the chop block or the falling center, and then this guy doesn't have to choose between 2. He can just come and seal this linebacker, and then you have Dalvin Cook on the edge, because that corner who's there at the 50-yard line right there on the 50 is not there. He's not there. So that's the advantage. That's what the play design is where does this guy go? All right, he stays. That means we don't have the numbers advantage in the run, so we're just going to throw this pass. And that corner on the top side, I think Vernon Hargreaves ends up making a good play to get in there and break it up. That's just kind of happens. Whatever. But that's the design of the play, right? So now we go to the one that you mentioned, the awful play. And work down a little bit here. So we're on 2nd and 18. The big thing about 2nd and 18 when you're on your own side of the field is, at this point, you're not really trying to convert in a down. Let's get as much of this as possible so we can, on 3rd down, get into field goal range or possibly convert, right? So I need a low-risk throw, a play that is a good call based on what the defense is giving me, which, once again, we have 2 deep safeties. So that's pretty much what we're working with here is, can we make a low-risk call to get as much yards as possible? We don't want to be pushing the ball downfield on 2nd and 18 into a too deep safety look. They're going to plan it, and we don't want to be punting the ball. We definitely don't want to take a sack here and make it 3rd and 20-something or 3rd and 30-something. So let's get the ball out quick with a simple decision. Same kind of concept here, except it's going to be Dalvin Cook running the swing, and it's going to be a backdoor screen instead of a backdoor run like the other one. So let's look at what happens with Dalvin Cook. Somebody follows him wide, and he sees this. He's going to follow him wide, that linebacker there. He isn't the one that's on Cook's side, but he's the one that's responsible for Cook, and he's going to follow him wide. So look here. Do we have an advantage? We have a guy that followed him. I don't have a full advantage here because I have Thielen having to take on 2 guys and a guy in man. So even though you have Cook here as the first read, does he really have a clear path? Because what's the goal here? The goal here is to get to maybe the original line of scrimmage. Let's get 8 yards. Let's just get 8 yards. Let's get an 8-yard play. That's the goal here. And on this throw, he's not going to get that. I mean, look, imagine if this ball gets thrown now. You have 2 guys. Yeah, he falls, but that's because of the turn. But he's got 2 guys on him here on this play by the time he's going to get the football, which would be now. And they slide up. So that's not the look. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'm sorry if this is hard to watch. But bottom of the screen, because that linebacker drifts out and follows him on this swing screen, this is not a good look at all. The numbers game isn't there. The blocking isn't there. It's a bad blocking matchup anyways with Thielen on a linebacker that's just going to get shed instantly. Kind of splits both of them. That's not the read. So it's not an awful read here. So let's go to the backdoor screen. So first thing to notice is because we moved that linebacker out with the swing screen, there's only one linebacker for the entire middle of the field. And if we get all of these guys to commit like they do, look at this. Look, the center, the right guard, and the left guard both release their man. It is a 3-on-1 versus Lavonte David. We have 3 offensive linemen versus Lavonte David for a screen. And there's no, I mean, the next closest person is Chris Conti, who can get taken on by a lineman. I mean, look, they get out there on him already at the 50-yard line. It's as simple as that. Beat him to the point and duck, and get down. The next closest person is TJ Ward, who's like 30 yards deep. So when we're talking about play design, this is a great play call, and it works. The only issue here is not Case Keenum. The issue here is this center does not get outside of Lavonte David. And we'll watch it from a different angle here. Because when you have a 3-on-1 versus a linebacker, you should win every time. So we see this. 51 is going to slide out. And we now know our backdoor screen is 3-on-1. And look, Lavonte is the kind of guy who sees this. This is what makes Lavonte David an all-pro level linebacker. Is he steps up, he sees the drifting screen, and he knows I have to beat my man outside. I have to beat him outside. And he's going to rip, he's going to run, he's too quick for the center, and he's going to come make a play on this football. It's a negative 4-yard gain, but the pass and execution by Case Keenum is very routine. Is it a 10-yard? Is it a 10 out of 10 rated play? No. I mean, from an execution of the quarterback perspective, he did everything he needs to do. The play didn't turn out like we wanted, but it has nothing to do with Case Keenum. He makes a good ball. I mean, the ball's there. Screens are simple. Get the ball over any kind of jumping lineman. It's just the center not making a play on Lavonte David. And that's just something you're going to have to see. So that's the whole point when we're using these motion swings is can we move a man out of the play, out of whether it be a run or a screen? If I can move a man out of the play and leave an isolated linebacker, I mean, imagine if they ran this the other way and it was Lavonte David that got out there. This linebacker, 51, isn't going to make the same play Lavonte David did. So don't let a good play by a defensive player kind of dictate what you think about a play, especially when we're talking about evaluating quarterbacks, because we're not evaluating the Minnesota offense here. We're evaluating Case Keenum, and that's just, I mean, he made the right play. He saw it, snapped the football. Instead of throwing a bad ball, he's going to give a little pump, turn, hit his man. I just need my 3-on-1 to win. And it sucks to see a one-man win, but whatever. It's not like he could throw this to inside. Jarek is drifting outside, so you have to throw it on the body. Like, there's nothing really wrong here. I mean, even then he's getting hit because his left tackle gets beat pretty much instantly. So, get this football out. It happens. It sucks, but whatever. So, yeah, man, I'll stop it there. I mean, this is a pretty long video at this point, but that's what you need to look at with the defense is what did they do post snap, and how did they look pre snap? How did they look post snap? And does that dictate what routes are open or what routes are available, like that first one? And then within these motion swings, that's something I want to see throughout the rest of is how much that is implemented within the offense across the Detroit game, across the what was the other game that you evaluated? The Chicago game, and then let's look also in the future at like how many does Case. I mean, this is just week 3. Does Case get better at leading the receiver into yards after the catch versus constantly making these receivers catch the ball at awkward angles? Because he does have some great anticipation throws. That's what I like. That deep ball was a good anticipation throw. There's a later route that's a comeback. That's a great anticipation throw. It's just a little off target, and it's forcing. I mean, you're getting the yards because it's there, but you're not getting any extra. And sometimes you need the extra, especially when you think about that Vikings game or the Saints playoff game. So, I mean, even then, that all that guy had to do was make the tackle. He really wasn't put in position. But then again, if he gets out of bounds there or gets tackled out of bounds, that might just be enough yardage to make a play. So, nonetheless, still plenty to look at, but that's what I wanted to highlight here for you. So, if you have any questions, just hit me on the Reddit chat or text me. I think I gave you my number, and then we can go from there. So, peace.